Good evening. Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, Max Barr here on a college basketball Friday night, kind of rivalry weekend. We got Georgia Tech going on. We got Florida State concluded. And in maybe not as good news, Alabama goes to Purdue. That didn't end well, which is not uncommon when you play at Purdue. Gentlemen, get us started tonight. As we got still several games going. I'll throw it to you first, Blake.
Well, yeah, Alabama-Purdue was the headliner. Max, I was thinking we were going to come on here, and it's been unusual this preseason because I feel like last year and even me and Chris going back to the year before, we were so used to the SEC dropping these games. Like we said, like how many missed opportunities the SEC had over the past couple of years in non-conference play. You just felt like there were these big games out there and just lost a lot of them. But like it's flipped a little bit this year so far, where you've had Auburn beating Houston, you had Kentucky beating Duke, and those kind of wins. And then this was another one where it's a road game, true road game at Purdue, and you're just wondering, okay, is this going to be another one for the SEC? Didn't happen. Purdue gets the win. And just real quickly here, Sam Smith. I don't think there's anyone on the planet, even Alabama fans right now, there's no one that dislikes Purdue more than Sam Smith. Noted Tennessee fan who did not have to watch Zach Edey in that game tonight. But, yeah, this was one that, obviously would have been a huge win for Alabama. They're still going to have plenty of opportunities left in non-conference play. We know that. But, yeah, I mean, this is certainly a game where you felt like the opportunity was there for Alabama, Max. But as we get into this a bit more, this was going to be a tough one no matter what. And it was just simply Purdue making more plays than Alabama, took advantage of it, and get a huge win here for the Boilermakers.
I mean, there's nothing like your first true road game, but to have it in one of the, top 3, top 5 hardest places to play in the nation, I mean, it's tough. And we said it in the preview. I said, from a gambling perspective, if you're thinking of betting on this game, just don't. And look what happens. It's usually in these type of games, it's the other guys that step up and are the biggest factors. You had Phylon for Alabama, unbelievable game, led the game in offensive rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, just a monster on the glass. And then the other part that, what are you going to do about it? CJ Cox just goes ballistic in the second half, and there's the game right there. Crowd gets back into it, and there's not enough time left. Am I worried? Not even close. We'll see what Chris Youngblood. Oh, there we go. Is Brett's not worried. One of the toughest home environments. Yeah, I mean, we said it on the preview. Have some caution here. This is going to be a real tough match, and you look at the betting handle. The public was all over Alabama. You never like a public road dog or a public road favorite, excuse me. But, yeah, we thought this was going to be a testy one, and it turned out to be.
Blake, I want to ask you, first of all, I think you got some stats on Purdue at home. I'll have you pull up in a minute before we get there.
Hold on, Chris. Hold on.
Sure.
Before we get there, here's what we're going to ask you to do. Come back into the stream because your audio is still not the best. So reload, come back in, and we'll try it from there. But I will tell you, Chris was just teeing it up for me. He wanted to talk about our friends at Bet Online. That's exactly what we're going to do before we get into this a little bit more, because I got some stats for you on Purdue. Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform, unlike Chris Lee's computer audio, and your number one source for online betting. Sorry, Max, I had to throw that in there. But earliest odds to in-game live betting. Bet Online provides you with all the action, the ability to watch the games as they happen. Largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. I'm sure, Max, there's also odds on this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson showdown here in a couple hours. We'll get Max's thoughts on that. Before we wrap up, we're going to get Max's breakdown of this huge showdown. But head to Bet Online today if you want to bet on that and anything else as I just mentioned. Get on the action. America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online. The game starts here. All right. So, Sam's comments on these ad reads. So, here's the stats I sent to Max, and I can't say that I see. We're gonna get to that super chat in a second. By the way, guys, we're going for a goal tonight on the super chats. Okay, we're doing this for you guys on a Friday night. We need your super chats. We're gonna go. What do we think, Max? I'm gonna say 7. 7 sounds like a great number for the super chats tonight. We got one coming in already. Keep them coming, okay? But here's the stat I sent to Max, and I saw this somewhere, and since it's the internet, I believe everything I see on the internet. So I'm pretty sure based on this, what I saw, this was only the 3rd time since 2017 that Purdue was a home underdog. It's the first time since January 2021. And I think that's what we were trying to... We did the preview, and we said, okay, Purdue's going to be favored by a point or two here probably. But then I look up, and like Bama's favored by 3.5, and like you said, Max, from a betting perspective, that's not great to back the public on the road there in this kind of environment against a team that just does not lose very often at home. And at least for that trend, it turned out to be the case.
Yeah, and then, just breaking down some of the guys here, you've got Stevenson in a slump, right? So without Chris Youngblood, you really need him to step up, and you're not getting that right now. So there's a hole in the production that I think would be there if Youngblood was healthy. So, oh boy, what?
Hold on, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Let's try this again.
Oh God,
nope. It's still a mess.
Oh, great.
It's weird because like this time it's not even. It sounds like your microphone, but like it's so muffled
like
that it's just
crackly something going on there.
Sam, you can describe it in the chat. How would you describe the way the microphone sounds right now? It's just I don't know. It's different.
We're gonna reboot the router. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe try that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Max, back to your scheduled program here.
Yeah. What were we? I completely lost my train of thought. Throw the microphone.
What happens on a Friday night?
So. Sounds like Batman.
Yes, there you go. That's
there
perfect. It's like Batman,
in
a 1992 movie. That's great. We can't play any audio. It's YouTube, but let's see if we can find a clip out there somewhere. But anyways, continue. Back to the game itself.
I don't even know where I was at.
All right. Well, I'll pick it up from here. Okay. Unless you want me to, you want to get anything else? I'll maybe give you something to tee up here. So we said in the preview, right? We're thinking there's no Zach Edey, and everyone is really focused on that. But we said, like, these guys, Braden Smith, who had a, 25, I think it was first time that's happened against the top 2 AP team or whatever the stat was, that someone has had that kind of stat line since, I don't even remember what it said. ESPN sent a little graphic on it. But, we said, like, Braden Smith, Lawyer, and then what else did we say? Oh, yeah, TKR. Like, we're like, these guys, just what they're going to bring to the table, the experience they have. And, yeah, Smith finished with 17, 10, and 6, I think it was. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, but, like, those 3 guys, they carried this team just as we thought they would. They're going to carry Purdue this season. But, like, even C.J. Cox stepping up and giving them what he gave them in 18 minutes, it's just – Purdue took advantage of those opportunities. Alabama did not. 31% from 3 again, Max. We've had our concerns about them shooting the ball early this season. They're going to fall eventually. They're going to shoot a better clip, but right now it's just not happening, right? And so when you play a road game like this and you kind of are in that position, they had open shots too. That's the thing. It's like, and they were mentioning on the commentary, like they were missing open shots. And so at some point those are going to fall more, but right now, they're just not for Alabama, and that's the difference in this kind of game. And, again, defensively, there's some things that got to be cleaned up too. So,
yeah, Sears went 1 of 6 from 3, and, there was, like, I want to say 4 of those 6 were wide. Like, you expect them to go down. And same with Jaren Stevenson. I know he's in a slump, but he had some wide-open looks in the corner, some good, like, penetration and kick out into some like set feet step in threes, and they weren't falling. Though they will eventually, right? But right now, it's not the case.
No, like if you look at now the numbers, so for Alabama and like some of the ones on Stevenson, I just felt bad because it was just like they would just spin around and they'd just come out.
Yeah.
44% in game 1 against Asheville, 19%, 32%, 31%. So, you do the math, they're shooting 30% from 3 through 4 games. And like we said, it's not getting easier knowing that the opponents that are coming up next. So, again, they don't really play what anyone would even call a light game for a while now. Because you think about it, right? That game they play, which they'll be a heavy favorite, but like they play the road game at North Dakota because, of the thing there. So like they have that road game coming up too. So yeah, that's just, they're going to have to hit shots. And, the defensive stuff, as we mentioned, yeah, like I think that's what we're going to have to see from this team if they're going to be what we think they can be. And like we always say too, this is such a gauntlet for Alabama, the schedule, that not the worst thing in the world if you drop a game like this, because, again, this can be kind of a learning moment for them. But I really think a lot of this was just they just missed some open shots that normally you would expect this team to make. They just haven't made as consistently this year. And what was that? Alabama got up 65-59, I think it was. They were up 6. And at that point, I'm thinking,
right before the C.J. Cox run. It was right before that.
And I'm thinking at that point, I'm like, okay, this is where Alabama pulls away, because I think they were even mentioning it, on the broadcast, that it's the speed up versus slow down. Like, we knew that was this game. Like, it was Alabama's ability to try to get out in transition, get easy shots, which, again, sometimes they got easy shots. They just didn't make them from 3, that is, specifically. They were fine elsewhere. But, yeah, like that was the biggest thing. And, like Big Baller Brett said earlier, I'm not worried about this team. They've got a breakout star in Phylon. I just think Sears is going to shoot it better. They're not fully healthy yet. You got to get young blood back. That's why we were hyping this guy up all off season. I think he's such a big part of this team on both ends of the floor. Not saying he's going to score 20 a night. He doesn't have to on this team, but defensively, I think he's going to bring, kind of an edge to him that they need. And I think offensively, he helps them out too. And so having that extra piece, getting some of these guys being able just to be more consistent, making shots, that's what it's all about. And we're only 4 games into the season, but for a team that, most of us, like I said, I think at full strength, which are not yet, I think they can be the best team in the country. They're not there yet, though. So,
yeah, you mentioned the pace. It felt like towards the end of that first half, Alabama started to implement it. They started getting going. They were playing their game. And then even out of the gate, but it was just that one moment. And I forget who had the comment, but I was talking about timeout. Nadeau's taking timeouts and didn't take one, let the crowd get back into it. In a game like this, that's all it took. That's all it took to swing the momentum. And then there just wasn't enough time left to get back into it. But I think in the long run, though, like when we're talking about February, for LeBaron Phylon to get a game in like this, 27 minutes, and to put up the stats that he put up, I would like to see him hold off on the fouling a little bit. But this is the time to learn those things. This is the time to make those mistakes. And Phylon stepped up. Oh, my gosh. I don't think it's a hot take to say he was the best player for Alabama tonight. I really think he was. He was 100%. With the rebounding, with the timely shots, the efficiency, him, kind of having these learning experiences right now is going to pay off big time down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's not that we didn't talk about him a lot this offseason. Let's call it. we mentioned him, but like we were looking at saying.
He came late. He came over real late.
He came in late, and then we're looking at the roster, and we're like, okay, well, look at all these guys that are, coming back. Look at, Big Cliff's going to come in. We know he's going to start. He's going to play a lot. Like, we knew all these things, but you're just thinking rotation-wise. We said they're so deep that you didn't know, kind of how that Sears, Holloway, even Wrightsell. Remember, like, Houston Millette was in there, Youngblood. Like, we're thinking, like, all of these guys, and we're like, I don't know how this is going to shake out. We know Sears ain't going anywhere, but who's going to kind of win out in all of these other spots? And so turns out that, like Phylon's someone that they're going to have a hard time taking off the floor in these kind of moments this year because he has already proven he can step up. And like you said, this experience I think will help him. But still, I think for Alabama fans, disappointing loss. I don't think there's any question because when you have this expectation, it's something where, you feel like you should be winning these kind of games if this is the kind of team you're going to be. But we see how they respond from here, Max. Like we said, the schedule was brutal. Illinois, Houston, Rutgers, Notre Dame, North
Yeah.
Carolina, Creighton. So, they're going to be playing games like this for the next month. So, how do they respond? How do they get better in some of these areas? That's what matters. So,
All right, let's see.
I can already tell.
How
I
are
can
we now?
hear it. It's not.
Oh God,
right.
it's worse.
It doesn't. But here,
Are you
look,
serious?
Big Baller Brett sounds like he's speaking over a 1A high school intercom. That's the perfect description. That's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like I am in high school on the intercom listening to the principal read the morning report.
Okay.
And I don't know why, Chris. I can't figure this out because it's never sounded like this before. I don't know, guys. But send your super chats. We said we needed super chats. We thought it was going to be for the company here, but apparently it's going to be for Chris's networking. So we're still aiming for the 5 or 7 super chats. I'm trying to sell us short here. If we get to 7, I don't know what we'll do, but someone wanted me to shave off the beard. How about that? If we get to 7. All right. Anyways, so let's get to a couple super chats real quick, Max. No, Max isn't handing out any free rides on the stash. Go Cats. That was a good one. $1.99. We appreciate that.
Nice.
But listen, you never know. The more you send in a super chat wise, you never know what could happen here at Southeastern 16. So, Mother Carol sends a $2 super chat. If we get 50 likes on this stream here, she'll send in $5. Oh, okay. So we're doing okay. So I see how this works. 75 if we okay. So I like this. So Mother Carol is doing a tier system here. The more likes, the more super chat money she's sending in. So you guys, come on, don't let her down. All right, keep it going here. This is like a telethon. That's what this is. So, yeah. But anyways, all right. What else do we need to get? We got a lot of people in the chat. Some of you people, 600 plus of you here on a Friday night. Talking SEC basketball. Doesn't get much better than that in life, in my opinion, Max. But where do you want to go next?
Let's address some comments here. We got a lot of take
find me some that you want to pull up.
Let's see here.
We'll get to that.
This is what Brett wants to see here. He wants to see Mark Sears, Phylon, Chris Youngblood, Grant Nelson, and Cliff with the right cell, be in that spark plug microwave off the bench. I agree. I think that's what you're getting to. And then maybe, with Darian Reed also. Coming off for some defense, some energy, Mo D. That's what I think you're getting to. But I don't know. I think Youngblood's on track for mid-December. But we'll see.
You just need him back with SEC play. That's kind of, really.
Yeah.
You just need him back with SEC play. I like that lineup too. I think that's, I think that's big. So, all right. Yeah, scheduling. Oh, wait a second. He's back, folks. Hold on.
Testing.
Nope.
Oh my God, what is going on? Hold on, Chris. It's got to be it's not the setting now. Something else is going on here.
Just try doing your AirPods or something.
Yeah, try to reset the AirPods. Maybe that's what's happening here. Something's up. So I don't know. It's tremendous.
Oh no.
All right, we're taking you off the screen until you do that.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, there's some other stuff in the chat here. We're going to talk about, by the way, we will mention Missouri and LSU from last night because we didn't do a stream this morning. We are going to mention that, and we'll do that shortly. Donovan, we're witnessing SEC 16 history right now. It's an all-timer here. It's funny because we really haven't had a lot of technical issues lately, at least not on the screen. Trust me, they still happen all the time off the screen. But we just haven't had a lot on things. So, all right. Let's see what else we've got here, Max. Anything else comments you want to pull up, and we may move on to a few other things, and I'm sure we'll circle back to Alabama at some point. But anything else you see that you want to pull up?
I'm looking through right now.
Notable. Not saying. Oh, Tyler, by the way, is watching Florida Missouri volleyball top 25 battle. If you send enough super chat money, we will start covering volleyball. All right. Can you imagine Max Barr and I doing a live stream for SEC volleyball?
I'll go live for anything SEC.
Okay, so there you go, folks. You heard it from the man himself.
I will update on. We do have some SEC games playing right now. Georgia and Georgia Tech are in a nasty one. It's 40-39. Georgia is 0 of 14 from 3.
Disgusting game.
Close your eyes. They're in an absolute rock fight right now. And I just looked up, and Asa Newell just trucked a guy for an offensive foul. That game, if you like some bully ball, tune in right now to Georgia Tech because they're slugging it out. And then A&M's up by 5 with a minute left on Ohio State. That game's probably going to stay close, but
Yeah.
Okay,
they were smoking
I
them,
turned. I
He's
turned
back!
Georgia, and
He's back.
nice.
Yes.
you know what did it? I turned Georgia Tech off on the iPad. I think that was it. I think they broke
you're
the
right.
stream. I think
You're
that's
100%
what happened.
right. You had overload of just a bad basketball game.
It just wasn't having it.
Listen, if Georgia wins this game, they'll take it, but it has not been pretty. The 3-point shooting is definitely been rough, but anyway.
Now there was a charge on the other end. They're just trading charges.
Just trucking guys out here, Georgia Tech.
See now,
that's
now
what we
I
like
wanna
to
try
see.
it again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't do that, Chris.
Here's a good question. Nope.
SEC bass
SEC
fishing, is that the
bass
one you want to
fishing.
pull up? Yeah, I think we'll do that. Again, super chats, guys. We're trying to get to 7. We got 3 so far. So you guys are on the clock. You want us to talk bass fishing, volleyball?
Bass what?
What else they doing? What else they do in the SEC? They got other sports too. We'll talk about it. Anyways,
I was going to say this one. Is Walter Clayton Jr. and Mark Sears in the same convo?
yes.
I think so. Both first teamers. How are they not?
Let's
What
talk
do we
about the
think about
Gators real
Florida?
quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that 3 that Elijah Martin banked in that basically won them the game? I mean,
Yeah.
Florida State's making a charge. Florida's been in control the whole time. Shot clock running down, barely gets it off, banks in a 3 ball game.
Yeah,
I love that dude.
It was real sloppy. How many turnovers did they have? 19 turnovers, and you still put up 87 points. I mean, that's a positive. You have 19 turnovers and they're still putting up 87. But the post Zion Pullen era remains to be a work in progress, offensive efficiency wise. But hey, you're not going to complain. You go on the road, first true road game, you put up 87 and win by 13. You'll take that all day.
Yeah, I really like Martin. You know that, Max. We talked about him this summer. I think he was someone who was not getting enough credit for what he was going to add to this Florida team. I mean, was by Florida fans, but I think just in general, I think some people were underestimating the impact he was going to have on this team. And, because like you said, you go from Clayton and Pullen last year, and now you plug in Elijah Martin, who, was just such a stud at FAU. And, yeah, I really like how this team is coming together so far. That they look the part, and I think it'll still be interesting to see how that front court rotation continues to play out. But I think, look at it this way, right? Condon 28 minutes in this game, Chinyelu 15 minutes, Alexis 16 minutes, Tommy Hawk 20 minutes.
20.
You know what I mean? So look at that balance there really with those guys. And so I think that's good, because I think that's only going to benefit Florida in the long run. And so, like many teams, I think you'll still see those minutes, be spread out a bit over the next month, probably, just to kind of, play around with your best rotations and such. But, yeah, I think we're probably not talking about Florida enough yet, and it's just because I think that, we were talking about Florida for a different reason. But I think it's just because they haven't played one of those high-profile games yet. But after next week, that jumps up, right? You start playing some of those more high-profile games that they're going to have. And keep in mind, too, we were talking about SEC schedules. I think we may have mentioned this a while back, but their opening to SEC play is brutal. At Kentucky, home against Tennessee, at Arkansas is their first 3 games. So, yeah, that was, I think, this team finding a groove here in non-conference play, especially when they go through this stretch starting on Thanksgiving. That's gonna be huge for what they're gonna have, especially when you look at their conference schedule, because the first half of their conference schedule is pretty tough. The back half, the way it at least looks right now, very manageable. So they can do a lot of their work up front. I'm not going to count Florida out in terms of being an SEC title contender, because I think they can absolutely be that. So,
Did you see the rebounding numbers? Florida State.
What was it?
Landslide.
Yeah,
47 to 29. I mean, that's just imposing your will, physicality. Condon with 12, and then Tommy Hawk with 9. Those two are just monsters on the glass, nonstop. And then I'm going to butcher his name. Urban
Klab-
Klabchar. Klabchar. My
Say
fault
that
on the
again,
name,
Max?
but not Urban something. But
UK.
they're implementing him in, and I'm telling you right now, I got some friends in the college basketball scouting world that are very high on him, like very high. I think he's going to be a definite impact. He only got 6 minutes first game, getting him into the rotation, but keep an eye on him. I'm not going to say his name again because I'm going to butcher it, but he's going to be a part. Nice. Yeah. Thanks.
Nice job.
Are they officially redshirting the 7'9" kid?
Isn't that what he said? I don't
I
remember
think
what
so.
he said. Golden
I
said
believe
something
I mean, he
so.
hasn't played yet, so
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Florida's, again, they're up. They got Florida A&M next Tuesday. That'll be a 40-point win. Southern Illinois after that, and then, yeah, things start to pick up for the Gators as they head to, what is that? What are they in? The play Wake Forest in the first game. Let me see which. I can't ever keep up with what these tournament names are called these days. It's the one at
No
It's
clue.
in Florida. Kissimmee.
it's
It's
the
at Disney.
ESPN Events Invitational. So yeah, it's like the Disney thing or whatever from. Yeah. So and they got Virginia, as we said, in the SEC ACC Challenge. So
I'll tell you what, though,
anyways.
they got that game coming up against Arizona State in about 4 weeks. And that Arizona State team looks like it's one of Hurley's better teams in the past few years. Hung with Gonzaga real tight and then just knocked off really good GCU team. So few good tests coming up here.
Yep. This just in. Georgia is still not hit a 3. All right, on to the next stuff here.
Yes,
By
they
the way,
have.
we know-
They're 1 of 15. They're 1 of 15.
Oh, did they just hit one? Literally, as soon as I
Asa.
said that, they just hit it. There you go.
Yep, there you go.
Just updated.
Announcer's jinx.
Wow, kick out to Newell.
You're welcome, Georgia.
But by the way,
They gotta
there's
win
been
this
a
game.
couple of fights in this one or near fights or something. When my connection came back on, somebody was shooting technical free throws, and then earlier, just as the half started, Tyron Lawrence and a kid from Tech got into it, and I think they gave a double technical.
Hey, it's Georgia Tech, man.
Yeah, no love lost here.
This is what we live for right here. So yeah. They're starting to push this out a little bit. They got to win this game. They can't lose this one. But we'll find out. Texas A&M, Ohio State. It's at half. Again, we're not going to be on doing the stream by the time this game's over because I think we all know there'll probably be 40 free throws shot in the second half. But we'll kind of talk more about that either this weekend if we find a reaction time somewhere to do, or we'll do it on Monday with A&M. But they're up 9 at half on Ohio State. Let's talk about the games from last night real quick because I did want to bring those up. We didn't get a chance to do a stream this morning, but who would I be to pass up
real
the
quick
opportunity?
before we
Okay, go ahead.
real quick. We have a Purdue fan in here, and I just want to touch on this game one more time before we move on. This is a quality fan right here. Glad we won, but I don't want to face you guys again in March. I see your team. I'm all for the trash talk, but I'm all for a good fan right there. I like that. I just want to highlight. I don't see that very often. Our chat is usually pretty opinionated, hostile the way we like it. But thanks, Riken, for hopping in the stream.
Tremendous comment.
Thank you.
Best Purdue fan comment we've ever gotten.
Yep.
I
Bang.
agree.
All right.
Come
go
back
ahead, buddy.
anytime. We'll talk about Purdue too if you want to. Send a super chat. We'll talk about Purdue all night. Listen, we'll do anything for money here at Southeastern 16. All right, let's talk about the games from Thursday night real quick. There was only a couple, and again, who would I be to pass up the opportunity to talk about a? What was the final one? I'm not good at math.
111
so
76, 65.
Well, hold on a second. What game are you talking about? You talking about LSU? I'm not talking about LSU. You kidding me?
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about Missouri winning by.
Of course.
Well, hold on,
help
my
you out here,
math.
Blake.
72? Is that right? A 72-point win? Just not great. But you guys are going too far
Ties
with my
the
anything for
program
money
record.
comment. Okay, a 72-point win. There you go. Come on. I can't pass up that opportunity right now, folks. They're back. The Tigers are back, Max. What do you think about that one? I didn't bet money line Mississippi Valley State in that game for what it's worth. I was trying to do the anti-jinx on Missouri, but I didn't need to do that. I'm having my fun here, obviously, but Tony Perkins didn't play. They put up 111. They won by 72. They led by 76 at one point. So, yeah, there you go.
I'll be honest. I felt bad for the Delta Devils. I felt bad for them. That was just someone should have waved the white flag and just called it with like 15 minutes left. That was
they
just
play
tough.
Texas tomorrow.
Yes. They're on the SWAC tour of doom that Jackson State's on.
Oh, man.
Listen, if you do a comparison, though, Iowa State only beat them by 39. Missouri beat them by 72. Spread. Missouri minus
Missouri's like
whatever that
40
is
points
against
better than
State.
Iowa State.
That's the way I see it. But
Here's how good Mississippi Valley State is. Missouri was 64 in Ken Palm entering that game. It is 54 now after a 72-point win.
that's how it should
Sorry
be.
to rain on your parade, Blake Lovell.
I don't care about Ken Palm in November. Okay, Ken Palm. I think he's like a great Christmas present. Ken Palm.
What?
Like you get Ken Palm, you really start getting into it in December, around Christmas time. About when I start to really put my stock in it. So, yeah.
Being the
Put my
computer
stock
guy you are.
in it. Yeah. Yes, of course. I'm really big on the analytics. So,
Do you think Mizzou's non-conference schedule hurts them? I believe Daniel's asking more specifically, does Missouri's lack of quad 1 and 2 opportunities hurt them here? We got a game against Kansas on December 8th, then a game against Illinois on December 22nd. Other than that, nothing of note.
Didn't hurt them 2 years ago. I mean, what were they,
True.
like a 6? They played maybe a schedule worse than this one pre-conference.
Blake, what do you think?
I think that not after a season where you lost that many games in a row.
That's where I was going.
I think you just need to win some games and feel better about yourself right now, to be honest with you. And you're not going to get 1-11, 39 wins a lot, but enjoy it because everyone knows I've had my fun with the Dennis Gate stuff and all that, but I can't excuse them losing as many games they did last year, even though I mentioned some of the reasons why I thought that was, if you played that 100 times, you're probably not getting that result ever again just because of them losing so many close games. Statistically, if you want to go to the advanced data to our friend Mr. Ken Pomeroy, Missouri was not even statistically one of the worst SEC teams we've seen in the past. There were a handful of more teams that were worse than them, even having won 2 or 3 or 4 games in SEC play. And so I think it's okay just to have these kind of games, win them, because again, look how close the Howard game was there towards the end. Look how close the Eastern Washington game was. They're still trying to figure this thing out, and I don't think they've fully done that yet. They played Kansas tomorrow. I don't think it'd be pretty, but I just think you got to build up some chemistry, build up some confidence with these guys playing together. You still have these rotations that are just kind of, what do we say, Max? Like they're still sort of all over the place, but I think that's for a reason. They're just trying to, I guess, see some different things. So I don't think it's that bad. Does it hurt their tournament resume? Sure, but let's be honest too. For a team that lost 20 games in a row or whatever, tournament resume is probably not the first step of getting out of there. It's just finishing games and winning games. So if they're going to be a tournament team, it'll be made in SEC play. But you know what? That's the case for a lot of teams too. If you're going to be a tournament team, you're just going to have to win some big games in SEC play. And really outside of your Alabama's, Auburn's, teams like that. I mean, that's probably going to be the case for everybody. So I don't hate the way they scheduled it. I really don't.
Blake, to your point, they finished 38 spots higher than Vanderbilt and Ken Palm a year ago.
Oh, you can go way back. Like you can,
Yeah.
Max and I think we did that. We were talking about Missouri this summer. We kept going back like year by year, and you could take there were some years where you could take the bottom 2 or 3 teams in the SEC And Missouri statistically was still better than all those teams who had won 3 or 4 games in conference play. It's just, like I said, if you look back at that, I know everyone makes fun of and I think Ken Palm wrote the article or something like on how Missouri was one of the unluckiest teams and was not even close to being one of the worst power conference teams in the last decade. But you didn't win a game. So, automatically you're going to be viewed that way. So, and that's why I think it's just sort of just win some games here. Just get the program headed in the right direction. It'd be great if they made the tournament this year. From what I've seen so far, it's a work in progress to get there. But, I mean, just do something that completely erases the bad taste of last year, which may never happen, but at least this may help them. So,
okay, I got a transition for you here because we started to talk about LSU. If you guys got a different topic, that's fine, but I did want to.
Let me just answer this real quick.
Sure.
We'll get to LSU right after this. Daniel wants to know if we expected more from Gray. I'll be honest, no. This is what I thought Gray was going to do. He's the horse. You throw him out there, and he goes and he bangs into the other guys and gets them worn down. I really thought it was going to be a 1-2 punch with Peyton Marshall. It's freshman 7-foot, 300-pounder. Just has not been there offensively yet. So that's what I expected more of Peyton Marshall, to be honest. I think Josh Gray is just doing what Josh Gray does. Go ahead, Chris, though. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Right. 1 second. Oh, no,
go ahead,
Chris,
Blake.
sorry. I want to just get this so we make sure we acknowledge this real quick. Tyler, shout out. $10 super chat. We're halfway to our goal here, folks. If you're still watching, 700 plus of you. We're trying to get to 7 super chats tonight. We already got 4. We only need 3 more from you guys, okay? That's all we need. Shout out to Tyler. Some money for everything that we do here at Southeastern 16. That's what we appreciate. And for me, joining the Rock M podcast. Always appreciate when you join those guys. Yeah, always love talking to Sam and Matt over there. And, yeah, we have a lot of fun doing our SEC preview every year. And don't worry, if you want to go back and find some very bad takes, go back and listen to my preview podcast with those guys for the past 5 years. And my takes on some of these SEC teams and what they actually wind up being, it's not the best. But we have a great discussion over there. So go support everything. If you're a Missouri fan, you probably already are doing it. But even if you're not, you want to support some good independent guys and what they do over there, just like us. They started this thing. They're trying to build it in their own, kind of deal there and doing the Rock M Plus stuff and everything. So go support those guys, Rock M Nation. Search for it on the Google. All right, Chris, you can talk now.
Okay, I pulled up.
Actually, hang on, Chris. No, I'm just kidding.
Not again.
Nice.
By the way, whoever made the comment about disconnecting the AirPods from the iPad may have been the winner here in the What's Wrong with Chris's Sound contest tonight. I don't think that was all of it, but I think that was part of it. So thank you to whoever did that. Okay, I pulled up our power rankings for earlier this week. We had South Carolina 16. South Carolina beat Towson going away the other night, which is usually a pretty good mid-major team, if I'm remembering correctly.
Max talked about the spread in that game. It was not. Yeah. It was like 16 or 17, I think, which is not a lot. But
our number 15 team was Vanderbilt. I was watching that from the press box the other night. They had 18 steals, beat Cal by 16. They're 3-0. LSU was our 14 team. That was one of my segues to get into them. They go to Kansas State and win in the Octagon of Doom. Cam Carr reunion tour. Or not Cam Carr. Carter. Cam Carr's Tennessee. Oklahoma, I think, unbeaten still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were our 13. I mean, that Lindenwood Northwestern State. They don't play anybody for a while. So who knows? But, you can only do what is in front of you. And then let's see. Who do we have next? We have Georgia, which I'm watching. This is part of the reason I brought it up. Georgia's winning at Tech tonight. As Blue Canes reigns at 3 to make it 9 with just over 4 minutes to play. We just talked about Missouri, which was our 11. Ole Miss is our 10. They're ranked. I mean, good gracious. Where's your break in this league if what we're seeing early is indicative of what we're going to see throughout the year?
There's not going to be much of one. There's really not going to be one. I mean, maybe a few teams, but if you're ranked in those middle pack of the power rankings all year and you're going away to a team ranked below you, I bet you're not going to be a betting favorite going into that game. Blake, I think the Towson, South Carolina odds it was 8.
Oh, was it? I don't know why I thought it was higher than that.
It was
Okay.
8. Yeah. But they crushed that spread out of the water.
Well, I mean, let's talk about LSU because they were in our preseason rankings. They were 16, based on the composite, which I said is exactly where they wanted to be. This is working out according to plan because if you're picked 16th or last of a Southeastern 16, you're gonna have a great season. That's the trend based on South Carolina following Mount Paris last year. So LSU stock is rising quickly because I watched that game last night. There's no Derek Fountain. There's no Mike Williams. The Cam Carter revenge game, I guess you want to call it. My guy, Max knows where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Jordan Sears, who I mentioned, and we actually, what was it, Max? We saw something somewhere about Jordan Sears, and we were like, uh-oh, maybe we should kind of keep our expectations in check. Someone was writing it like in their LSU season preview.
It was Matt
Wasn't
McMahon.
And okay, yes, you're right. It was. And it was basically, he had a quote that's something like, hey, it's a big transition going from that to this, from UT Martin to LSU. And, just kind of seeing how that transition was going to work out. And when we saw that, we're like, okay, is he kind of saying that because he's seen where he's like, I don't know. But that hadn't been the case. Like, this guy, played 29 minutes against Alabama State, 18 points, had 5 assists in that game, 15 points in this win at Kansas State. 5 assists, 7 rebounds, like just cleaning up for a 5'11 guy. Keep that in mind, folks. So, Jordan Sears, I was wondering if one of my bold predictions from the SEC basketball experience this summer would pay off. I don't know, Max. It may be closer than I thought. But the real story, anytime you have a guy on your team, and this maybe is what we underestimated with LSU. Max is laughing because he knows what I'm about to set up here. He knows I'm about to tee this up. Anytime you have a guy on your team, Max just knows me so well at this point, folks. You have a guy named Victorious Miller. You just know that you've got a winner. And so Victorious Miller here goes for 15 in this game, played 21 minutes, out of nowhere. He's got John Rothstein tweeting about him. That's how you know this guy. Buy stock now. What a win for LSU. I don't know how good Kansas State's going to be this year. I really don't. But that's a great road win early on in the season. And for a team that I think clearly maybe we underestimated, and I think sometimes it's hard to remember, like they won 9 conference games last year. And it felt like they were just kind of there at times, but like they did wind up winning 9 conference games. They had a hot stretch to finish the season. They won that one by a point, I think, at South Carolina. They beat Kentucky at home by a point. They played a lot of those close games. But congrats to the Tigers because that's a great road win. They've still got some interesting non-conference games on the schedule, but that's a good one early.
Blake, I want to bring up something with that too. Go ahead, Max, if you've got something. But
I was just going to say that the Bully Ball Committee has added our second member of the watch list this year. Cade Phillips was added earlier in the week. We liked what we saw against Louisville from him, but Corey Chest.
Yep.
Have yourself a night. 13 rebounds, relentless. That's the type of attitude we like. Corey Chest, welcome to the Billy Ball watch list.
2 freshmen.
What?
Victoria Miller and Corey Chest, 2 freshmen. Yeah.
They actually had 3 that played well. And that's what I was going to say. Like we mentioned it in passing when we discussed them preseason. I said, hey, look, they had a pretty good recruiting class. They had 3 guys, Miller, Givens, and the other Miller too, actually, were all top 65 recruits, depending on where you looked. Chest was a borderline top 100 guy. Now, he was class of 23. He redshirted last year. I'm not sure what the situation was. But we never really talk about freshmen, right? Because this league is so transfer heavy, you just have no idea. When there's an unusual amount of 23 and 24-year-olds, the chance that a freshman is going to come in and do something, not great. Unless it's like a McDonald's All-American type, and even then those guys don't always hit anymore. That's 3 freshmen last night that played really, really well for them, including one that had a year to sit and watch.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Georgia's up by 12. Nice. And Blue Cane just got a steal and run out. Looks like Georgia's going to win pretty comfortably. And, oh, boy, Texas A&M's out to a 15-point lead.
The Aggies
Actually, I'm
are
telling
back.
you right now, no, don't say anything yet, because I've seen a Texas A&M lead like this vanish in the blink of an eye far too many times before. PTSD from UCF.
We'll see. The SEC needs this one. Because A&M
Yeah.
left one on the table at UCF to start the season off. They need to get that one back here. And then, as we look to the weekend too,
Yep.
I was looking at the schedule, and I can't say this is a huge weekend for the SEC. Next week, let's call it what it is. Things really pick up next week. And we're going to be, who knows how many prediction videos we're going to have coming soon. But you've got, on Saturday, South Carolina's in Indiana. I think the line, as I see it now, is 7.5 in Indiana's favor, which is not maybe as much as you would think. Colorado State's at Ole Miss. We want to see Ole Miss play better.
That's in Memphis, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
For
sorry.
whatever reason. I don't know why you do that, but.
It says it's in South Haven, yeah. So,
yeah.
So that one's played there. Texas, Mississippi Valley State, as we said. There's no line on that game. I can't imagine what that's going to be.
Oh, good Lord.
Vanderbilt hosts Jackson State. Don't forget Commodores. Jackson State went and won at Missouri last year in non-conference play. Stetson's at Oklahoma. Not a lot stands out there. Sunday, though, you got Austin Peay at Tennessee, which, everybody would say, all right, well, come on, it's Tennessee and Austin Peay, right? But the Governors.
Don't sleep on Corey Gibson.
Don't sleep on the Governors. 3-0 to start the season, including a win at Butler, home against, I think, a solid Chattanooga team. So Austin Peay heads to Tennessee, a little bit tougher competition there. And then we've got another interesting one, I think, Mississippi State and Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big one for Mississippi State because, Utah, Craig Smith, the way they like to play, they're going to be a really good offensive team. Look what they've done so far, but their opponents have been Alcorn State, Central Arkansas, Queens. But they've scored 96 or more in 3 games so far. And again, Craig Smith, really good, I think, in terms of look at the history, like offensively, what they do. That's going to be a challenge, I think, for Mississippi State in that game. And that game, too, it's not a true road game. That's right. I forget. They're playing the 2 games there. Ole Miss plays there, and Mississippi State plays there, too, at the Landers Center in South Haven. So that's what they're doing. So I'm excited for that one. I think that's going to be a fun game. 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN2 on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Sunday at 4, when your fantasy team's losing by 97, tune into that game because Utah shoots a ton of threes. So far through 3 games, they're second in the nation in 3-point attempt rate compared to 3-pointers per how many field goals. Second in the nation. They shoot a ton of threes, and they're 9th in the nation in average height. So they're tall and they chuck it. And we've seen, we know what to expect from Mississippi State now. They're just going to play that super fun, exciting, new look perimeter offense with Hubbard running the show. Tune into that game Sunday afternoon.
Keep an eye on Georgia Tech here. Georgia's guards are just putting on a clinic down the stretch here.
Nice, Georgia.
Blue Cane, Tyron Lawrence.
Everybody needs a Blue Cane. So,
everybody needs a Blue Cane.
They play this one. Their schedule gets interesting. Remember, next Saturday and Sunday, big day for Georgia. We talked about it either yesterday or the day before. Marquette and St. John's. So those 2 games in the Bahamas there for that one. So those are big for Georgia. So
how did Marquette end up tonight? Marquette had a game. Oh, they're up by 2 with 15 seconds left.
Yeah, they're at Maryland, right?
It looks like Marquette's going to get a good win.
Yeah.
Demery drills a 3, and that'll put it away, I think. They're now up 15 with under 2 to play.
Yep.
So back to a couple things here in the chat. Ronnie Mack says Purdue's backcourt was underrated. Not surprised one bit. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about that, Max. Like, I think it's just, again, Zach Edey's not there, but man, those guys are going to win them a lot of games this year. Just, on the backs of those guys alone. So,
yeah, and I mean, TKR just practiced every day against Zach Edey for years. I mean, his breakout has been a long time coming. So, and we talked about TKR on the preview. So I didn't think he was going to have a career high. I wasn't expecting that, but we knew he was, legit.
Cannon 98 here. Thank God they put our game versus Indiana on Peacock tomorrow, so no one can see us get destroyed. Come on, Cannon 98. Come on. Folks, why are you not signed up to Peacock? They got all your NBC quality programs on there. They've got the history of professional wrestling. You want to go back and watch some of the classics like Chris Lee, who I know is watching Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant 5 times a day.
You're talking me into it every second here.
Yeah, you should go back. Check it out. WrestleMania 3. I can give you a full watch list. It may take you several years, but I'll give you all the ones you need to see. You can find that on Peacock. Some of us watch Peacock. Some of us may go through other means of catching these games. We won't mention any names here on the show. But
hey, Adam Schefter, the great Adam Schefter, got caught using the streams. All right, so it's not
someone
just
guilty conscience over there. It sounds like I didn't say any names, but
Nobody said a thing, and he just
all right.
You heard it here, folks. You know who to find. Anyways, all right, guys, we're gonna turn over to you for the last couple minutes. What do you want? If anything else you want to discuss, send it in. We'll hop off here shortly. And yeah. Oh yeah, Kentucky.
Lipscomb.
I'm gonna offer a non-basketball question, but relevant tonight. Who's watching Tyson fight tonight?
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, good Lord.
That
should never even happen.
Come on, you guys are watching that, right? Just for
It's a great segue. Matt asks, "Is it our bedtime? Is it Mike Tyson's bedtime by the time this fight starts?"
The real fight is tomorrow when the greatest UFC fighter of all time, John Bones Jones, fights Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title. That's the real fight, not this 60-year-old elder who's going to get Social Security in a few years. Unreal.
Oh, gosh. Here's the thing, right? I mean, come on. Like, we know who's winning this fight, right?
Yeah, it's the guy that's juiced out of his gills. And 30 years younger.
Here's the thing. That when Jake Paul actually loses, guess what happens? Guess what goes away? The money goes away. So, come on. They're going to keep this train rolling. Mike Tyson's going to take the dive, and he's going to get paid $5 million to do it. And he'll be just fine with that. All right? I'm taking the dive for much less than that. So, come on.
Mike Tyson doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would take a dive.
I like my entertainment scripted. All right?
I would love nothing more than to see Jake Paul just like Tua Tagovailoa out on the canvas after a Mike Tyson right hand. It's not going to happen, but I wish it will.
Are either of these bully ball candidates, Max? Or either of these guys, would they qualify? You think if they played basketball? Mike Tyson and Jake Paul?
Not if they're trying to rebound against Corey Chest.
Oh, that's true. Cam Matthews, Corey Chest. Who else?
Taking my guys.
Dylan Cardwell. Just Big Cliff. I mean, just keep going down the line. So.
Alrighty. Anything else?
All right. Last chance. Anybody else want to talk about anything other than Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? Yeah. Anyways. All right, guys. We're getting ready to hop off then. I don't even know what our schedule is basketball-wise for this weekend, but we'll let you know. Max, we may look at some options, maybe do kind of a weekend wrap-up maybe on Sunday at some point tonight, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
There's some options out there if maybe the Gamecocks wanna show up to Indiana. Yeah.
We'll find out. Yeah. We'll let you guys know. Football-wise, tomorrow night. Oh, you guys get a real treat tomorrow night. You get me
Are you
subbing
coming
in
out
for
of
Chris Lee.
mothballs?
You get me subbing in for Chris on the football show tomorrow night. So if you really want high quality entertainment, come hear what I have to say about Texas, Arkansas, LSU, Florida, South Carolina, Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia, and all that good stuff. So, boy, is that not a sell? If that didn't sold you, I don't know what to tell you. So,
I'm taking
anyways.
my,
All right,
my
Chris.
1 day off every 2 years for
Well,
mini vacation.
that's all right.
So
Me and Chase Robinson got you covered. All right, Chris, wrap it up.
yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes out of the next couple of weeks of basketball. We got some tournament ball starting next week. I mean, the games are, if you haven't looked at the schedules, the games are really starting to ramp up for a lot of these teams. Auburn and Alabama have got
There we go.
brutal schedules coming up. Thank you, Mother Carol.
Nice.
By the way, how about 750 people here watching live on a Friday night? This is the first Friday night live basketball stream for us, other than NCAA tournament, I believe, or SEC. We didn't even do SEC tournament because
Well, we were
the
there.
internet connection in that place made mine tonight look great. So that never happened. But anyway, thank you to those who tuned in tonight.
Hey, Sam notes quickly as we get out. We have one more super chat to meet our 7 goal. We have 6. Is anyone in the next 30 seconds going to give us even a 5-cent super chat to meet our 7 goal? Who's going to do it? Come on, guys.
Just
We
looked
believe
up
in
to
you.
Mike White. Mike White's fired up right now. Georgia gets a
He
big
should
win
be.
on the road. That's a big win. I know it's Georgia Tech, and I think they were favored by, 2 or 3, but still, that's a big win. First true road game. And hey, Georgia Tech last year was a nasty team to play at home. They beat Duke. They beat Clemson, North Carolina.
Matt refuses to do the super chat because he doesn't want to pay Chris Lee. That's what it comes down to. You can pay
Right.
either Max or I, Matt, and it'd be perfectly acceptable. So, anyways. All right, guys.
I'm waiting for Blake to go all televangelist on us here.
We have to be out in 50 seconds. We have to be out by the 58-minute mark. So we're going to see if anyone – I feel like I'm Kramer on the telethon. Like, I'm just up here – like, was it the Yankee? Was it some kind of Yankees thing he was doing? And so I'm really just trying to talk you guys into this. But that's okay. We won't hit our 7 goal. We'll get 6. So that'll work tonight. We appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Remember when we did the Seinfeld? If SEC teams were Seinfeld characters, that was
We
fun.
did do that. I don't even remember who was who, but
We
did
should
it,
do that
so,
again.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Georgia is just about finished with Georgia Tech. If you're catching this later, Ohio State and A&M still going. So I'm sure we will wrap that one up in a little more detail whenever we go live next.
A&M right now is 21 of 24 from the free throw line. I don't know the trend on that, but that's got to be one of their best nights like in years. Got to be.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thanks to those of you who left the super chat. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. For Max Barr and Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. We'll see you again soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by Bet Online.